how would you compare your therapy experiences and your coaching experiences, or what would you want someone to know if they are still conflating the two?
Well, this is probably akin to just your type of style of coaching, but for me, your style of coaching was way more, it was much deeper to me than therapy was. For me, therapy was I vent about my issues, we talk through the issues and come up with some possible solutions, I go about my business. For you, it was more so you were helping me to view my issues in a different perspective to help me no longer see it as an issue. So the troubleshooting was different, very, very different. My therapists have never asked me, what am I grateful for? I have never been asked that. So I know, like, our first session when I was venting to you and I finished venting, you were like, okay, so what are you grateful for? And I was like, I don't know. You know, it definitely threw me because I'm not used to that. So I will definitely say that your style of coaching got me to realize that there's a different way to fix problems. Instead of looking at it as a problem, change the way you look at it. Like, I never thought about it prior to that. So therapy was very straight to the point. There's a problem, we'll talk about it, we'll fix it, that's it, and that's just pretty much it. But you just brought a whole different perspective to fixing issues that I had not heard of before. So yeah, that's what I would say.
I was going to say I agree as well. I've also been involved in therapy, and I think Chanel's approach was like a breath of fresh air because I think I have that issue too where I'll bring an issue to my therapist and I'm like, okay, this is what I'm thinking about, and then we'll like talk about certain things, but I'm like, okay, that's not really what I wanted to get out of this. And that's one thing that I also appreciate is like when we talk, you're like, okay, so what do you want to get out of this? It's like, wow, yeah, thank you. And then like reframing it, whatever I came in with, I like looked at it completely different. And I have an example we can get into later, but yeah.
Oh, go for it. Let's just freeform it. We know where the questions are going to go, but go for it.
Okay, so for example, so my partner right now is in a different country. So he chose to go to a different country, and that was very hard for me in the beginning. I mean, it's not easy still, but so I also have I discovered my hypochondriac during the pandemic, which is not a good time to discover that. I mean, I already kind of knew, but anyway, so I like mentioned to Chanel in one of our sessions, like, I'm freaking out, and like also I'm like alone, and like, you know, all these things. And she was like, well, how do you want to feel? And I was like, I feel like that changed the way that I completely saw like my anxiety about things, because I was like, I then it then opened the door to how, and I had kind of thought about this before, like how basically I will have like physical sensations because of the emotions that I'm feeling, and it was just like liberating to be like, I'm gonna choose to try to feel different. And it's hard as heck, like it's so freaking hard.
Definitely.
But I think it was just like very enlightening, and just like little things like that you're like, wow, I would have never thought about that. It's like she has great perspective.
Thank you.
Excellent perspective. You are absolutely right. I feel that.
It's so funny because I remember one time, if I can share, Cindy was freaking out about COVID, and I was like, okay, so you're going to die tomorrow. What you going to do with today? And she was like, I don't say that. And I was like, I'm not trying to speak negatively. I'm just saying, if this is a fear, what are we going to do? And she was like, okay, I'll talk to you later. I was like, okay. You know? But, you know, like the idea behind it is just like we have these fears that we don't want to make real. But that makes the fear bigger and a boogeyman, and like there's no way to wrap our arms around what's going on because we're just like, because COVID hypochondria is so real. Like, and then this idea that you're so worried about the potential of being sick, and you don't have a symptom yet, right? And so anyway, that's just funny because I thought that's where you're going to go with it. But thank you for that.
That was another one where I was like, no, I don't want to think about that.
Your therapist would never say that to you.
No, not at all. Not at all. You need to take it to that level to get us to see sometimes how silly the fear can be. Like, I've never had someone challenge my fears in that way. So even though it's like hyperbole, it's exaggerated, it's still effective. You know, it's still effective. So Yeah.
Cool. I'm so glad we got deeper into that. That's great. Thank you guys.